Breaking news this morning. It's been a scary night for some people in Hawkins County as dozens were evacuated from their homes in the early morning hours. We have some video in from the scene right now as a fire broke out overnight at the Pressman's Home Trade Building there. It started about midnight. An evacuation order now has been lifted, but here's what we know of what's happened in the overnight hours. Fire crews say a building connected to the fire was containing propane tanks, barrels of oil, and ammunition, as well as lacquer, and that caused the evacuation order from that building, and nearly immediately there. Crews say the evacuation prompt was with a mile radius from that building. They were able to contain the fire there. In initial reports, the building EMA director telling us just a short time ago the evacuation order has now been lifted. They did set up a shelter overnight, but say no one went to that shelter there that was evacuated. They believe everyone went to their family and friends. This is some video there of that fire. All fire departments across Hawkins County were called to that scene in the overnight hours. The fire is considered contained this morning, but they are still on the scene there in Hawkins County on Pressman's Road, but the evacuation order has been lifted. We'll have more on that as we go throughout the morning here on News 5 Today.
From WCYB, this is News 5 Today.
Breaking news this Wednesday morning as we look live on air for the VI campus in Bristol, Virginia, and a fire there along Moore Street on the campus. It began overnight there. Crews called out there a little before 4 o'clock this morning. A lot of smoke in the area. We've been able to see smoke coming from the side of that building there throughout the morning as well. Fire crews from Bristol, Tennessee and Bristol, Virginia on the scene. Mostly Bristol, Virginia units that are left at this point in time. No word on what caused that fire, if there's any injuries involved, but fire crews still on the scene. You can definitely still see and smell the smoke throughout downtown Bristol this morning. As we learn more about that, and you see them checking the different parts of the building there. We'll update that for you here on the air. A live look right now in Pennington Gap, Virginia, as a tobacco festival begins a bit later on there today. A KISS tribute band kicks off their festivities at 8 o'clock this evening right there in the Lee Theater. And then tomorrow the fun starts at 7 o'clock with a pancake breakfast, ends in the evening with a comedy show on at the Lee Theater as well. Festival includes food vendors will be set up in Main down through Main Street downtown there, contests, live music, and don't forget the parade as well. Beginning today, the Tennessee Department of Agriculture Division of Forestry requiring a free burn permit prior to burning leaves or natural vegetation, including debris caused by the hurricane. Permits are only issued when it's safe to burn. Conditions are unsafe for hazardous conditions like high winds or extreme drought. Department of Forestry temporarily pauses the issue of burn permits and resumes once conditions improve. Burn permits are free. You can get one at the burnsafety.org or by using the My Tennessee mobile app. Online permits are issued for 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Although online applications are encouraged, residents with limited internet access can call the phone number 877-350-BURN to request a permit. That would be Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30 during business hours. And some tips to come along with that: safety concerning burning debris outdoors. Notify your local fire department and neighbors if you are going to be burning, and don't burn on windy days. Choose a location away from flammable materials and buildings. Keep fire containment equipment on hand, a rake, a shovel, water, all right there just in case you need it, and stay with the fire until it's completely out. This morning, reminding you some local schools are preparing to return to class. Greene County schools back in class as of today. Carter County saying they will be back in the classroom 2 weeks on October the 28th. Unicoi County schools closed at least for another week. They've not yet identified their return to school date just yet.
A farm recovery meeting is happening next week in Jonesboro. It will take place on Tuesday at 6 p.m. at Embryville United Methodist Church. Join UT and TSU extension specialists and agents to learn what resources are available, to ask questions about the next steps for your farm's recovery.
This morning on News 5 Today, various levels of lead found in water at local schools. We're going to tell you about that this morning in a program aimed to help small businesses across our region restart after damage from Helene. We'll let you know how they're helping out. Right now, let's take a live look outside in Johnson City as we look live along Roan Street there, I-26 exit 20, a place that will definitely be much busier as the sun comes up and rush hour rolls around. But right now, the weather, no problem here on News 5 Today.
From WCYB, this is News 5 Today.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to News 5 WCYB Today. I'm Preston Ayers. Straight up and down 6 o'clock on the time here on this Friday morning as 5 Washington County, Virginia schools are stopping to use their drinking fountains after test results show various levels of lead. The testing performed by the Washington County Service Authority after the Environmental Protection Agency passed some new regulations late last month requiring water that's used in schools to be tested for lead. On Thursday, the school system learned that 4 schools had at least one water fixture with tests that were less than 10 parts per billion. Those schools are Meadowview Elementary, Watauga Elementary, and Glade Spring Middle, as well as Holston High School. With less than 10 parts per billion are found in water. Guidance from the EPA says that consider risk mitigation, but also a precaution. The system has decided to halt drinking fountains at those schools. Glendale Elementary had 2 fixtures test about 10 parts per billion, and when that happens, the EPA guidance says to stop using the water source and take remediation efforts. The schools will be providing bottled water to students and staff until they can get that issue resolved. You can read more about the letter and what they sent home to parents. It's on our website. Also, more details about the testing on our website. It's WCYB.com if you want to check it out this morning. Kids headed out to catch the school bus this morning. A calm, warm start for us. A very mild day ahead, David, in the 60s in many spots already.
Yeah, still feeling like September today. Just not going to be in the 80s like we were yesterday, but we are starting close to the normal high again, upper 50s to low 60s. Normal low is 36, normal high is 62. A lot of clouds, and the temperatures are running about the same to about 5 degrees cooler in some locations. We are seeing mid-50s in Wise and Marion, low 50s Roan Mountain and White Top, the mid-60s in Greenville. More clouds than sunshine today, but we'll see some more breaks in the clouds later in the day. 68 at noon, a high of 73, still well above normal, but a breeze out of the north will bring in less humid air, more comfortable conditions by this evening. We'll be dropping to 58 degrees by 8 p.m., so cooler then than we are right now. We're watching a western weather maker bring snow to parts of the Rockies, and it's going to send some rain our way for part of the weekend. Details coming up in a few minutes.
Crews are still working on a wildfire in Buchanan County this morning. Virginia Forestry Department saying the fires burned 1,400 acres, 95% contained. Here's a picture showing the flames near the Grundy town limits along Route 460. Riverview Elementary and Middle School, Grundy High School dismissing early on Thursday because of heavy smoke and the spread of the blaze in the area. One person's been arrested following a standoff in Russell County on Thursday. According to Sheriff Bill Watson, James Keene was arrested following that standoff on Jack Grizzle Lane in Castlewood. Authorities say no hostages were taken. There were no threats to the public. Investigators say Keene had been wanted on probation violations. 2 people are dead after a crash in Greene County. According to Highway Patrol, the driver of a Ford truck was headed on State Route 70, the Asheville Highway, Wednesday, and rear-ended a car in front of it that was trying to turn left on the Cove Creek Road. Investigators say that car was knocked into the path of another truck, striking it head-on. The driver of the car, identified as 67-year-old Benita Metcalf, died Wednesday. The passenger in the truck that was hit head-on, 58-year-old Jackie Aiken, died from his injuries at the hospital yesterday. Charges are pending against the other driver. Traffic still being diverted in the city of Elizabethton, in a very busy part of town. It's the Broad Street Bridge. It's still closed after it was severely damaged in Helene. The city's busiest bridge is causing a detour into congestion in places that don't typically see as much traffic, including Elk Avenue in downtown in front of many small businesses. We talked with city officials about the work to get that bridge back open.
We are still currently waiting on TDOT to respond back to us. They did have a dive team go down and check out the foundations of the pillars, but we've not heard anything back from them in regards to what the plans are for that bridge. We just know that they are requiring us to keep it closed until they make that decision.
Well, we reached out to TDOT to find out where things stand from the state. The spokesperson telling us that they're trying to determine if a repair is possible for that bridge, saying that analysis is ongoing and will be for the next few weeks. If a rehabilitation method is not found to be acceptable, they say they'll work with the town to replace the bridge and continuing to work with the city and county as well as optimizing traffic control that's being affected because the bridge remains closed. The voice of the Vols, Bob Kessling, announcing this will be his final football season with UT. Bob Kessling has been calling games for over 25 years after taking over for legendary John Ward when he retired. Now Kessling saying it's time, something for new in his life, citing spending more time with his grandchildren as a big influence in making the decision to walk away. Kessling will be finishing out this football season and call the basketball season before putting down the big orange mic. The Smokies are headed back to Knoxville after 25 years. The Knoxville Smokies unveiling their new look and logo on Thursday. And on their X account there, the Chicago Cubs, the AA affiliate team, will play in the brand new Covenant Health Ballpark in downtown Knoxville. Their first game will be at home on April the 15th as they make the move down. They had been up in Sevierville.
Got arrested recipe for success coming up, especially for those who might need some anti-inflammatory foods. Liz Bonus, we explain just ahead.
President Biden addressing the nation after the 2024 election. We'll find out what he has to say about the transition coming up. Right now, though, let's take a live look outside. Good morning, Marion, Virginia. There's what it looks like outside the Emory and Henry School of Health Sciences there. A nice start to the day with folks in the 60s. Maybe not 80 today, but it's still going to be warm out there this afternoon. David talks about that. And what about the weekend? He'll let us know how that's going to shape up in a moment.
From WCYB, this is News 5 Today.
We're taking a live look this morning over Irwin there with a bit of a funky light there on that camera this morning.
Been blinking for a few days now.
We've been blinking there this morning. Good morning and welcome to News 5 WCYB Today. I'm Tracy Brooks.
And I'm Preston Ayers. It is 5:30 here on this Wednesday, middle of the work week now. Voters in the southern half of Washington County, Tennessee will be selecting who they want to represent them in Nashville and the State House. They're headed to the polls right now to make that decision.
And News 5's Caleb Perney introduces us to the candidates.
Democrat Sylvan Bruni says he believes Tennessee's current legislature has passed extreme laws for special interests.
And early voting continues in Tennessee through October 31st and in Virginia through November 2nd. Election Day is November 5th, just under 2 weeks away now.
And sending the kids out to catch a school bus this morning. Probably need a jacket, a hoodie, some type of long sleeves to start off. A little on the cool side.
We're getting into sweater weather, that's for sure. Though later in the day, it's getting a good bit warmer, though.
Yeah, it's seasonably cool this morning. A big temperature turnaround, a wide range in temperatures from morning to afternoon. And starting off with those long sleeves of the jackets and then short sleeves later in the day. We're going to be around 44 in the Tri-Cities between now and 8 a.m. Clear skies around the region. Some of the ridges are milder. It's 54 Wise at the airport, but 38 in Clintwood, also 30s in Grundy, Glade Spring, same thing in White Top and in Boone, low 30s, Roan Mountain, but it's near 50 in Greenville and Morristown. Hardly a cloud in the sky anywhere near the Tri-Cities, and that'll be the case again today. Mid-60s at noon, a high of 76, so about as warm as yesterday, but more of a breeze. Wind out of the southwest, 5 to 15 miles an hour, and some increasing clouds this evening ahead of a weak front passing through tonight with maybe a sprinkle. Slightly cooler tomorrow, warmer again on Friday, followed by another cool down over the weekend. We'll take a closer look at that and also ahead to the Halloween forecast that's coming up in a few minutes.
When emergencies happen, communication is key. The city of Kingsport encouraging residents to enroll now in a mass notification system to help them stay informed. It's called HyperReach. The service provides a text and email alerts in an emergency situation. It can also be an alert via an Alexa-enabled smart speaker. Residents and people who work in the city of Kingsport can enroll by texting alert to the number you see there on your screen. We also have that information on our homepage at WCYB.com.
The town of Greenville has been awarded $15,000 in funding for several projects in that community. The funds will be used by the Greenville Police Department to install speed bumps in strategic areas throughout the town. The Greenville Fire Department also using a portion of the funds to purchase a fire rescue skid unit for the department's utility terrain vehicle.
The Appalachia Service Project is expected to break ground on its new Highlands Volunteer and Training Center in Johnson City. Expansion allowing the organization to serve more families that are in need, provide housing to those volunteers assisting in home repair and disaster recovery. The ceremony taking place tomorrow on the Bristol Highway in Johnson City. This new facility tentatively scheduled to open in the fall of 2025. You may remember Appalachia Service Project announced last week that are working in our region to build 200 homes and make repairs to them for flood victims across northeast Tennessee.
The rivalry between the Science Hill Hilltoppers and the Dobbins-Bennett Indians always makes for a big game, and this year the stakes are even higher. Bank of Tennessee has stepped in to sponsor what is being called Mayhem in Maroon. Both teams met on Tuesday at the William B. Green Stadium for a press conference. The coaches and their teams are excited to play on the big stage at ETSU for that big rivalry game.
First thing you think, hey, I don't want to use my home field advantage up, but when you can come over to play at a place like ETSU and it's still in Johnson City and you're right here to bring all these fans in. One of the best stadiums I've ever been in to watch a football game. And you know what they've built here and just the atmosphere it had when we played Elizabeth the last time is fantastic. So we're excited.
I think it's just a neat atmosphere that our fans will just, you know, they will really clamor for us. So I'm really excited about it. I know people in Kingsport are as well.
Hoppers will take on the Indians next Friday, November 1st at 7 p.m. You can watch that next Friday on Friday Night Rivals.
I'm Christine Frizzell with a breakdown on the border. A closer look at what Kamala Harris and Donald Trump plan to do as president.
Plus, a recall alert on Honda vehicles. The reasoning of why they are being recalled is the one you have in the driveway this morning. We'll tell you which ones are on the list ahead here in a moment.
But first, let's take a live look here around Bristol this morning. There on our Ashley camera network. Looks like traffic is moving along just fine across those cameras. Not much to get in your way this morning. A bit of a chilly start, but seasonably so. Not a bad start for our day here. It's 5:37.